Thursday is the big day for Mr. Kash Patel. He is going to be appearing in front of the Judiciary Committee, the Senate one at least, and he's going to be answering a lot of questions from a lot of individuals who aren't very happy, given the fact that he is going to likely be the next FBI director. So you can expect Democrats to be extremely trashy, rude, nasty. Everything we saw during RFK's confirmation hearing, plus Pete Hegseth. It's going to be probably even worse for Kash Patel. Joining me now to discuss is FBI whistleblower Steve Friend. He's also the host of the great podcast, which is available right now on Rumble. I highly recommend you go head over there and subscribe to. It is the American Radicals podcast. Steve, thanks for joining me. I wanted to have you on because Mr. Kash Patel is about to walk into a committee hearing and Democrats haven't been nice to those who've come before them thus far. Kash Patel's a man who doesn't really have much in the way of dirt on him. And so I expect him to get really, really nasty with him because he is so, he's good for the job. So, what should Kash Patel and Americans at home expect tomorrow from his confirmation hearing?
I think that you're gonna have a lot of the, fireworks that the Democrats hope to get. They're going to just go off on their 7-minute monologues, hope to get a viral moment that they can share with their donors and get themselves on MSNBC sometime because I think the votes are already whipped at this point. I think Kash Patel's sitting pretty comfortably. It's not like Pete Hegseth. There, like you said, doesn't seem to be a lot of derogatory information that they could bring against him. I mean, the worst they can accuse him of being is, I don't know, a supporter of Donald Trump, which seems to do well for the MSNBC audience. But for the American people, Kash Patel is eminently qualified. He is a person who was a defense attorney and a prosecutor. That's a pretty unique experience. Normally, it's career prosecutor only that the FBI likes to bring in as a director. He also worked in the intelligence space in the DoD, actually prosecuted the war on terror. So he has all that experience. And I think that he's just a well spoken guy. He's got some charitable efforts as well. I'm familiar with the Fight with Cash Foundation. So they don't have a lot to go against him. And I think the other thing that bodes well for him, as it did for Pete Hegseth, is he's really good on camera. He, under fire, is able to come back with competent replies to that. He'll be respectful, but at the same time, he's not going to be put down by the moment. The moment's not going to be too big for him. The lights will not be too bright.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see this because I do think he's going to be able to handle himself when they do come after him. It was interesting. RFK Jr. When he was testifying in his confirmation hearing, what Elizabeth Warren was just being a nasty troll, just decided to blow his nose right into the microphone to drain her out. So maybe Kash Patel might have a moment like that when they start going after him. I hope so because it gives you a laughing moment when you're so infuriated that they're targeting someone who's an absolute patriot to this country. But Steve, I want to talk about something else too because they constantly bring up his book. I believe it's called American Gangsters. If is that what it is? Or
Government gangsters.
Government gangsters, okay. So he goes over the fact that all of our lawfare that's been going on over the years and the certain figures who have gone after innocent Americans and use the FBI and the DOJ to go after them. A lot of them keep talking about a list, that he's got a list of people that he's going to go after once he gets confirmed. Tell us a little bit about that so-called list because it's funny to hear Democrats talk about it because it's not what it seems like.
It's the appendix of the book where he names the names of the people who were violating their oaths of office and potentially breaking the law and abusing their positions of authority to go after people that Kash Patel was standing in the gap for, innocent Americans. Look, this guy's track record is, and he's going to be criticized as being a political partisan, but Kash Patel's track record is he was the guy at the helm who exposed the corruption at the FBI. I don't know why that would be a knock on him, but Government Gangsters, excellent read. It's not just about the Russian collusion hoax. He talks about all these different parties and how they abuse their positions of authority. And they should be named. These are public servants who theoretically swore an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, sometimes in a security space against enemies of the country, to protect the American people against fraud and force. Yet they were perpetrating it at the same time. Transparency is always the best disinfectant.
Yeah, yeah, and we look forward to that because a lot of those people aren't often named and they're not often called out, and they do have the protection of the deep state, and that's not something Cash Patel looks to maintain. So we're excited to see all of this. I want to get to a tweet that you posted because this was quite hysterical. You dropped an exclusive of this wall. It's one of the DEI walls over at the FBI, and it looks like it's being painted over, thankfully. So this is possibly preparation for Cash Patel getting confirmed. Tell us a little bit about this.
Your eyes are not deceiving you. That is not the inside of a grammar school. That's actually the inside of the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, where they had prominently displayed on the wall the core values of the FBI, the core values which list rigorous obedience to the Constitution at the end behind things like diversity. And now, thanks to the Trump administration doing away with the DEI across the government, they're covering up the walls in preparation for Director Patel walking those hallways. I think it's going to be too late for them, though. They have been weighed, measured, found wanting, and their names are on a whole bunch of emails. I think they should probably take this deal and take the off ramp for the federal service.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think a lot of them are going to start doing that because they all know that they did something wrong and they're going to get in a lot of trouble. So likely that's going to be the case. But we did hear reports that the FBI obviously did dismantle its DEI program, but we also heard reports that those individuals who are a part of all of it have been shifted into different positions within the agency. What are you hearing? Because I know you got some good sources.
I'm hearing exactly that. They rearranged people. They moved them from the diversity office that existed in the Hoover building over to equal employment opportunities. So it's just another arm of human resources. They're hoping to keep their heads down because the truth of the matter is, these communists, these cultural Marxists who have been able to infiltrate our federal government, they're not going to take the off ramp. They're just going to bide their time, burrow in, and hopefully outlast a director or a president, and then reemerge with some sort of new branding. They'll play the game of whack a mole. But look, here's the thing: there is a paper trail. The government is good at one thing; it is creating a lot of paperwork. And the other thing that we've been able to cultivate, myself and the other whistleblowers, is a nice source network. Human intelligence is very useful to us. They've been able to name names, and those names are finding their way over to the incoming director of the FBI, Kash Patel. He knows who they are, so he'll be on the lookout for them.
We're excited for this. I'm very excited for this. I really hope that Cash gets confirmed as quick as possible so we get him in there because there's a lot that needs to be fixed. The FBI, as you know, Steve, firsthand, is one of those agencies that I guess it's not going to be popular to say that we're just going to completely abolish it. So, dismantling the key parts of all of this and making sure that those who contributed to the lawfare, let's just be nice and say the last 4 years, they need to be pulled out and lose their jobs if not prosecuted on top of all that. So, we'll see how it all goes. I'm confident, though, that Cash is going to do an incredible job tomorrow in front of the Senate. Steve, friend, I want to remind our audience that you do a great show. You got to head over right now to Rumble, take a look, subscribe. I'm a big fan. I know everyone else at home will be as well. The American Radicals Podcast. Give it a follow. Steve, friend, thank you as always. In case you didn't know, now you do. This show is available as a podcast as well. So make sure you head on over to all of your favorite podcasting platforms like Spotify, Apple, Amazon, and subscribe, follow. We greatly appreciate you when you do so. There's a lot of exclusives that you might be missing out on if you aren't heading over there to give us a follow. So again, folks, give us a search, The Breanna Morello Show, and give us a follow as well.